Hello everyone and welcome back, and welcome if you all are new. Olivia with Olivia's Romantic Home, and in today's video I'm sharing with you 6 DIY Dollar Tree high-end decor crafts. So listen, I love to share with you guys how you can make your homes boutique gorgeous on a budget. Listen, y'all don't have to break the bank to have a fabulous, amazing home, and let's welcome in a new season of summer decor. And you guys can always customize these ideas to suit your home decor and your colors. But let's go ahead and plug in those glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafting. For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create an amazing candle lantern on a total budget. So from the Dollar Tree, grab these little wooden boxes. You could also use one of their gift box lids as well. I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree wooden dowels and I'm going to hot glue them on the bottom of the dowel and then on the corner, and then just tuck them into the corner of the little wooden box. And that's going to get my dowels nice and secure in here. And I will tell you that I am using a high heat temperature glue gun. I'll leave my favorite glue gun linked in my Amazon description box for you guys in case you need a great glue gun. Now I'm just taking and I'm adding hot glue to the base of all 4 of the rest of my little dowels. It gets a little messy here, but then I'm just going to pop it into the next box, and bam, we have a fabulous lantern. And I do end up removing the little hardware on the outside of the box. Now I'm also going to share with you guys how you can make a smaller one of these. So I see these type of lanterns on Pottery Barn, Kirkland's, so many different places. They're so expensive. These are actually wooden, although the boxes from Dollar Tree may be more of like a particle board type wood. But the other idea for you guys too is you can use the little Dollar Tree signs. Those work as well. Now I'm just removing the hardware and a quick little sand diddly do, and bam, I don't have to worry about those. You could even fill them if you wanted to, but I didn't feel like it was necessary. Now I'm going in with my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just taking an old bar towel and I'm going to rub that wax on there, and you could sand it and rub it, you know, and just really get creative with it. I just added 1 layer, no sanding required truly. I felt like it came out really nice. So here is how they look, you guys. I popped a flickering flameless candle inside. You don't want to use a real candle at all. Inside of these, there would be nowhere for the flame really to go, but check it out. Oh, and the flickering flameless candles, it's $13 I believe for a 3-pack on Amazon, and I'll link those in my Amazon store as well for you guys. But hey, listen, you could layer some greenery into these lanterns. You could add more candles. These are going to go definitely as a tabletop centerpiece, and I may add some stones around the candles and pop them outside on my little patio. Oh my goodness, I'm really excited for this project. I feel like they came out really high end on a total budget, literally about $3, and you're staying and you have some really beautiful lanterns. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to share with you all how to get creative and jazz up your Dollar Tree lemon plates. So if you're like me, you've been using these lemon plates for several years now, or maybe you haven't found them yet, but pick up an extra one. You have to try this craft. So you're going to take a piece of painter's tape and a marker. And now remember this. You can use any color you want to make these checks, but I'm going to make some Mackenzie Childs inspired checks on my plate. Okay, this is so fun and honestly super therapeutic. Like if you need a fun little craft to do that you can just relax with, this is a really great one. Now that first marker I used was a blue marker that was not a permanent marker. I will suggest for you to use a permanent marker and try to match it to the color of your checks, but I end up using enough paint that's going to go over where I drew my guidelines, so it's not a big deal. But I'm going to go ahead and take my paintbrush, and another little tip is to try to find a paintbrush that's squared off if you're going to be painting square checks. You could even find one that's big enough to just paint that one individual check. Also, there are different sizes of painter's tape. So you can make a smaller check or a larger check. And don't worry if you don't have painter's tape, you can easily cut a piece of construction paper in a linear line and just use that as well as your marker. maybe you're even a great freehander and you don't even need to mark it out. But I'm taking some blue crafters paint, and this is just regular blue crafting paint, and I'm going to use that to make my checks. I used a mix of some Arteza, kind of a royal blue, and then also it was called electric blue from the Apple Barrel Craft Paint at Walmart. Now I will tell you that the Mackenzie Childs royal blue checks are a little bit more royal blue. I wanted to go a little bit lighter on this one. I just thought it was so pretty, and I've actually seen some folks do a similar plate like this in my Olivia's Romantic Home group page. So thank you guys so much for all of the inspiration. Tag me down below or on Instagram if you've made this or if you recreate this. I'd love to see what you're up to. Now I'm taking this DecoArt paint pen, and I'm just going to rim the edge of the plate with the paint pen. So if you see Mackenzie Childs, they sell really expensive, plates, and they actually use a gold paint that has like flecks of real gold in it. I think that might be part of why they're so expensive. We don't have real gold in these, but you can get these paint pens at your local craft store, and I also just buy mine on Amazon. They're a little bit pricey, but they're worth it. I think they're like $5 or $6 a pen. But let me tell you, they really give that stunning gold effect. And I also outlined the checks of my plate. Usually I don't always do that on my Mackenzie Childs dupes, but I thought for this one, to kind of clean things up a little bit, it was a little bit tricky to get around those lemons. But there you guys have it, a fun and fabulous lemon decor plate on a total budget. And as you can see, I'm still using my other lemon plates to actually eat off of. You don't want to use a painted plate ever. Don't eat off of a painted plate unless you go through the steps of actually firing it and making it food safe. And you guys can Google how to do that. But fun and fabulous on a total budget. Now for this next DIY, I want to share with y'all how to take a terracotta pot and age it and make it look a little bit more vintage and distressed. So I found this terracotta pot at the thrift store over the weekend, and I'm just going to take some white paint, and this is honestly some paint that we had left over from when we painted the walls inside of our house during the shutdown last year. But I'm just going to take this little Dollar Tree sponge brush and gently rub some of the paint onto my clay pot. Then I'm taking a wet and also a dry piece of paper towel, and I'm going over it with a little bit of the wet paper towel to kind of smudge it off, and then I'm going to go back over and kind of dry it. And if you feel like you've taken too much of your paint off, you can go back in with your paintbrush again like I'm doing, and then just use your dry towel, and it's going to give it that aged look. Okay, stick with me here with you guys. But yeah, just go ahead and add a little bit more paint and distress it as you go along. You can also use chalk paint. This would work really great with chalk paint. And you can leave your clay pot as is. I just thought it would look really neat to make it look like it's got that vintage garden appeal. And I've been wanting to try this DIY forever. Now I'm going to take a little bit of green paint, and I mixed it in with some brown paint to kind of give it that aged moss look. I'm adding the paint on and then taking the wet paper towel and just kind of smudging some of it off, and then taking the dry paper towel and just kind of blending it that way. You can see I go in with a little bit more white. So just do layers until you get your desired effect. Now don't forget your little round at the base. If you're going to be using this outside, I do suggest that you seal it because you've added this paint if it's going to get wet. I'm going to put this in the centerpiece actually of my outdoor patio table, and my patio table is covered, so I'm not super worried about it, but I could go back in with some sealer or some waterproof Mod Podge and just seal it. Now I'm going to go one step further and add a quick little Dollar Tree arrangement to the center of my cool little thrift store pot by popping some foam into the center and then adding in some Dollar Tree greenery. Dollar Tree has some really beautiful, amazing greenery. That first piece of greenery, though, actually was from Walmart. Now, these little greenery, kind of eucalyptus-y, spiny looking things are from Dollar Tree, and I'm just layering them in and around the larger one that's in the center. I'm adding in some Dollar Tree moss and some stones just to make sure everything kind of stays down in there really nicely. And then some of these little Dollar Tree ferns are really nice, you guys. Oh, their greenery is just so beautiful this season. So you guys can get creative. You could put lavender in this pot. You could put roses, whatever suits your fancy. And if you don't have a terracotta pot, you definitely want to go check out my last couple of videos. I've shared with you guys how to create faux terracotta pots. Imagine my delight and surprise when Mr. Romantic and I were out at thrift storing this weekend, and he was like, babe, there's a terracotta pot for you. So I picked up this beauty, and I was really excited to kind of make it look a little bit more aged and English garden appeal. So fun, totally fabulous on a total budget. Now for this next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to share with y'all how to create this little box garden planter. So from the Dollar Tree, I took several of their little wooden boxes. Now if you don't have these little wooden boxes, no worries. Dollar Tree always carries those little wooden signs. Look in their sign section, grab a couple of those, whatever suits your fancy and whatever you're able to get a hold of. So I'm just going to take and glue these little wooden boxes together from end to end. Another idea for this is if you can find the little wooden crates that they're putting out in their crafters square section, those would work as well. And again, I'm just hot gluing the other set of boxes end to end. So I do have a high heat glue gun that works fairly well. You could also use wood glue, but I'm super impatient and this seems to hold up just fine. Now I'm going to flip one set of boxes over and then add the next set of boxes to the top. So I want it to look like it's kind of like that old like little postmaster box type thing, and just make it look kind of cute. And so I'm going to hot glue the first one to the other one, and you could go with it like this, or you could go one step further, and what I did was I added some dowels to create a height and layered effect. I feel like a lot of my planters are sitting low to the ground, so I wanted something that could kind of pop back into the backdrop, or that I could put into the centerpiece of my table and have some height. That way the guests aren't always blocked by greenery. So I'm just adding in some of these wooden dowels. Again, these are also from Dollar Tree in their Crafters Square section. You're going to want to hot glue the bottom of the dowel and then into the corner, and that's going to create the legs. You could also double these up just to give it a little bit more sturdy. I did notice it was maybe even just a little bit top heavy, so I don't suggest that you use this outside. It would definitely topple over in my outside with the amount of wind that we get here. Now, of course, I wanted to make a little floral arrangement, so I am just taking some hot glue and I cut these little pieces of Dollar Tree foam down so I had something for my greenery to pop into, and I'm popping some greenery into this. Now, I was even thinking about staining this, so let me know if you guys think I should stain this to match my other little like wooden lantern pieces. I kind of liked it not stained. I don't know. You guys, let me know what you think. It also might be even cute painted black, like to remove all the hardware and then, you know, even paint the hardware gold and put it back on. But I feel like this year for summer, I really just been trying to do easy crafts. So this one is definitely a little bit of a lazy girl craft, just leaving it as is. I also popped some succulents into it, and I feel like it kind of contrasts nicely against the other stained lanterns, but it also might look really good. I'm not for sure. But here it is on my little table centerpiece. And again, I was able to place things underneath it because of the height and level that it's sitting at, which I think is kind of a cool idea, especially if you like to do a layered effect like I do. I like to layer a lot of colors and patterns and textures together just to give your eye something really to look at it. And this just screams summer to me. Bright, beautiful florals. Those were my Mother's Day roses that are in those vases on either side. And a couple of the roses are even from my garden. I am so excited to have flowers blooming from my garden. Oh my goodness. For this next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to share with you all how to create a lovely Mackenzie Childs inspired Dollar Tree little star. So we're going to start out with this wooden star cutout, and then taking some painter's tape, I'm going to run the painter's tape in diagonal lines, and then just using a Sharpie, Sharpie out lines. I do want to paint some of those Mackenzie Child's amazing royal check stripes on my star, and I'm going to cheat and use this little template. That way I can hopefully paint my checks a little bit steadier. Now let me tell you guys this. I was so nervous when I first started painting checks, and it is not as hard as you think. You do not have to be any type of real artist to do this at all. I promise you, grab your paintbrush and some paint and start painting in those little lines. And listen, if you all look closely at mine, it's very wobbly. There's paint smudges here and there. I do like to mix two different colors of paint sometimes. So I've got a darker blue and a lighter blue just to give it a little bit dimension. If you look at the Mackenzie Child's checks, they're not perfect by any means. It really looks like they're hand painted. So I want to encourage you guys to try this project. Give yourself some grace. And if you're nervous that you're going to ruin this, it's a $1 wooden, star. So it's not the end of the world. If it comes out terrible, you can flip it over and do something different on the other side. Sometimes I've even just, painted over the entire thing. So you guys can do this. Anyway, I'm going in and painting my checks up. Now, I noticed for these wooden cutouts, I only had to do one coat. For my lemon plate that I painted, I did have to do 2 coats. The other thing I forgot to do was I forgot to paint my base white. So I did notice it looked kind of like yellowy. So I'm going back in with just some white paint, and I'm going to clean that up and just kind of make it look a little bit more painted, I guess. Now I will tell you though that with Mackenzie Child's checks, they do use kind of a cream colored off white paint. I just had bright white, but I think it still came out really super adorable. Now you can go an extra step like I did and add a little bit of gold paint around the edge. I'm using this Deco Premium paint pen. It's a Deco Art Premium Paint Pen. I find mine on Amazon. I love these. So you just have to push a little bit on that paint pen and the paint will drop down into it. And it gives you a really nice steady line. I only rimmed the edge of my star. You could go back in and outline the checks too, but I felt like my checks were looking pretty good today, or okay enough. And I thought that this was a really fun, just little addition to the table. It gives you a kind of surprise, a really nice pop of color. Now you can see over to the back, these are the Mackenzie Child Royal Blue Check napkins. So their royal blue check is a lot more royal blue than mine came out, but I still thought it was a fun pop of color. Now for the next Dollar Tree DIY, I want to share with y'all a super easy DIY. You can take one of those little Dollar Tree wooden boxes. I'm going to remove the hardware from the front of the box. I want to make a really cute little easy plant stand. If you don't have one of these, do not fear. You're going to probably see these kind of like little boxes in sign forms at Dollar Tree. Grab one of those. The other thing I've used to create this before is to use a box lid. So use like one of their gift box lids, paint it, just have fun with it. Now, I am going to take my Waverly Antique Wax, and the Waverly Antique Wax does really great with these. And it's like a particle board. It's not real wood. And so their signs are particle board as well. So what I would do if I were you guys and you were just using a sign for this, chalk paint it and then stain over it. Or if you have one of these boxes, you can just stain directly on top of it, or you can paint it whatever color you love. I want to make it look kind of like a high-end little Pottery Barn inspired little plant stand, kind of that modern chic look that everybody is using. I think that this is nice to mix in with your romantic decor. So I love to juxtapose, different textures and styles into my decor. That way it doesn't just all look like one style. I want it to look a little bit romantic, a little bit modern, a little bit farmhousey, a little bit French country, and you're just going to have so much more interest that way, and you're going to get to play with so many more colors and styles. And you guys have to know by now I love to play with different colors and styles. So once I had this all the way stained, I did take a bit of sandpaper and run it around the edges, and then I called it a day. Hey, not a bad craft at all. This one was super easy. The next thing I did was I just went ahead and with my hot glue gun, I hot glued a massive amount of hot glue around the edge of the little candlestick. So right here, just take a lot of hot glue. You don't even have to be super neat about it because it's going to be underneath here. You do want to turn your thing upside down so you can get it into the center. And then there you have that. Now, I want to show you guys one more quick little idea for what you can add to this craft just to make it look really cute. Succulents are all the rage, so grab some of those little Dollar Tree clay pots, add in some foam and some moss and a succulent, and check this out. Okay, this would definitely be even $5 at Target. So it was not that much using Dollar Tree supplies. I think we spent maybe $4 or $5 total for the stand and all the little planters and succulents. So there you guys have that, a totally fabulous craft on an amazing budget. Now, as always, I ask you guys comment and let me know what was your favorite DIY in this video and which one will you be attempting to recreate. Now, I need to know what you guys love to vacation. Do you love the beach? Do you love the mountains? Let's do some vacation dreaming. I know that I did that question not too long ago, but I'm still wanting to hear from everybody. Let's do some vacation dreaming. What would your dream vacation be this summer? There's Benji Bear. He is going for it. He loves this little stick game. He is so adorable. So say hi to Benji Bear, and I love y'all. Joining me on another fun and fabulous crafty decor adventure. I hope you guys are totally inspired to dress up your space on a budget and use those colors that you all love. Bring some bright, fresh, sunshiny colors into your home as well as greenery. Listen, I love to decorate for every season, so I hope you guys are inspired to decorate and craft along with me. I would also love to have you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's totally free. Punch that bell that will update you every time I post a new video. I post 3 videos a week on YouTube as well as several videos a day over on Facebook and Instagram. You guys, I just love to keep you guys crafting and decorating and motivated to have a wonderful space on a budget. I think when you come home to your home, you should be able to kick back and enjoy the beautiful surroundings, and you don't have to spend a ton of money to make a gorgeous home. So anyway, I love y'all to the moon and back. I can't wait for our next video. It's gonna be so fun and fabulous. But until then, remember, be kind to yourselves and be kind to one another. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.